Let's get some more perspective on this with members from our Real Deal squad, okay? Let's get to that squad over there. We've got Julie Roginski, she's a Democratic strategist. Nancy Skinner is with us again, a syndicated radio host and a liberal, if you get right down to it. Ben Ferguson, he's also a radio guy on the right side of things, meaning to the right. And Jack Berkman, a Republican strategist and bomb thrower. Thanks for being with us, Jack. Let's start with you. It just seems like fear and the economic malaise, this sense of depression we have out there, that's the one area where President Obama finally has bipartisanship working. What do you say?
Oh, yeah, Buffett. I mean, Buffett's becoming like Comedy Central. I think he's like most of us. He should stick to what he knows. I mean, I shouldn't talk about stocks. He shouldn't talk about politics. But let me make some news. Let me be real controversial. This recession, not only is it nothing to be afraid of, it's a good thing. We're forgetting why we have recessions. The government should no more monkey around in bad times than good times. Recessions clean out the weak, dirty, lazy, crooked underbrush of the American economy. For instance, how would Bernie Madoff have been caught? Market forces caught Bernie Madoff. Market forces caught Enron. Market forces would sweep away these dirty companies like AIG, but they don't because people like Bernanke and Obama have prevented it.
Nancy, painful medicine, but we had to take it?
Yeah, right. You know, this is ridiculous to say. This is not any ordinary business cycle recession. We were talking about depression. And good thing, what Bernie Madoff, you know, people lost their life savings. Look at Dennis. You know, we went from bearish to bullish, and now there's bipolarish about this market. We were going to a depression. Yeah, we took the medicine, the stimulus. We did it, and
You're
we
absolutely
are getting better.
Just for those who might not have caught it, I want you to hear this Warren Buffett soundbite here. CNBC caught up with him today at Sun Valley, where he was pushing for a second stim pack. I mean, never mind that we haven't spent even 90% of the first one. Take a listen.
The stimulus was never designed to act fast. I mean, people hoped it would start trickling in. But, and in general, I think, and this is no criticism of the administration because I believe in the stimulus and I probably believe in another one, but they may be overrated in terms of their ability to end a recession fast.
Now you can see that you can see and read this full interview with Warren Buffett on CNBC.com, and as always, we do cover the Oracle of Omaha 24 hours a day on BuffettWatch.cnbc.com. All right, so Ben, what do you think of that? I mean, he says, gee, they don't really work that well, but let's do another one.
Well, Warren got it half right when he said the stimulus package was like a half a pill of Viagra and the other half was candy. The reality is a stimulus would work if it actually was a stimulus. But if you look at the stimulus package and what we did, it had renovations for a disc golf course in Austin, Texas for $1 million. It had a passage for animals to go under in Florida, for goodness sake. That's not a stimulus package.
Julie, never underestimate the power of half a tablet of Viagra, for one thing.
Yeah, you want me to comment on the power of Viagra? I'm not qualified to do that. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, but tell us about the economy then.
Well, what I am going to tell you about the economy is, look, I do agree with Warren Buffett. I think the stimulus should have been bigger from the start. I said so before, and I say it again today. But if you look at why? Because it's obviously not creating as many jobs. They underestimated originally what the unemployment rate was going to be.
It's not up to government.
Why should the government? So do you want the government? But explain to me. So you think it's? But let me ask you this. So you think it's efficient? In other words, you would argue.
Can I finish my thought, please?
Well, you would argue right here and now.
No. Let me just finish my thought before you ask me any questions. What I'm going to say to you about that is, if you underestimate what the problem is going to be, you're going to underestimate the need for the large solution that it needs to be created.
Okay, but why do you feel the government should be in the business of creating jobs? Don't you agree that there will be a down-the-road effect?
Because the private sector is not there right now, and I wasn't around in 1929 or 1933, but I certainly don't want to go back to those days. I will say,
we're only at 10%.
Listen, look what has worked. We've gone from losing 700,000 jobs a month to somewhere around 400,000. GM is emerging from bankruptcy tomorrow.
Dennis, the recession's over.
But they're less bad.
You're living in this la-la world of Obama land. It's about as bad as the Neverland Ranch. Look at the stimulus. There were not job-creating things in there. And even the Vice President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, said, well, we all underestimated it. It didn't work. At least he's not a liar.
Wait a second. Let me
if I could just ask. All right, Mother Earth, future of Mother Earth is in the hands of the world leaders, but it seems they're just pointing fingers at the USA. They want us to play by different rules that will restrict our growth, restrict our factories, and I say it's a waste of time. Let's go to the Real Deal squad for the real debate. Ben, start us off here. China and India aren't going to cut back on carbon emissions. Why should we?
No, they're not going to, and the rest of the emerging world is not going to either. So this is a pipe dream. When I have the economy where it is right now, I don't need the President of the United States of America living in Neverland looking at this going, oh, we're going to do something that's not going to happen. But more important than that, even the UN general said this today, and I thought it was a brilliant point from him. I don't usually like him. He said today, this means nothing, what he's proposing anyway, because if there's such a dire need that we've got to stop global warming right now, why is the president in favor of something that doesn't happen for 10, 20, 30 years from now?
There you go. Julie, take it.
Let me tell you something. We're in the United States. We lead by example. And by the way, we emit more carbon emissions than anybody else in the world, so we should lead by example. Look, diplomacy has been out of fashion under the Bush administration for 8 years, but the way to get India and China and the developing world to come along is to negotiate. It's to negotiate with them. We lead by example.
I think the rest of the world is sick of us trying to lead by example. How about leading by action?
Dennis, we don't ram it down their throat by example, which is what we've been doing for 8 years. We lead by example. We engage in diplomacy. We negotiate.
We need technology to fix the problem,
Nobody has been able to lead the Chinese by example for something like 5,000 years, so I don't think we're going to be able to start now. But let me ask you this.
And apparently you haven't been...
Who in the world, let me raise this point, who in the world are the Europeans to criticize the United States?
Amen.
Europe, which is this disarmed center with no armed forces at all. If there were a 9/11 in Paris, if God forbid somebody went in and knocked over the Eiffel Tower, the French would immediately look to us to go to the Mideast.
Wait. What does that have to do with the price of carbon in China?
Who are they to criticize us for our factory production?
Dennis,
They're not
let
criticizing
me hop in here. We were fighting over steak and chicken on the Titanic. This is not about altruism. This is about survival, and it's about money. The first country that gets this right and starts investing in new technologies, green technologies, is going to be the world.
This is not about survival.
For a second.
We got 100 years to fix this. This is not an urgent crisis, but everything Obama does is a crisis because that's the only way we can mobilize America.
Next topic. Dennis,
you guys lose on that one. Next topic is time running out. Is time running out for Ben Bernanke over at the Fed. His term runs out in January. White House pondering whether to reappoint him. Now, Wall Street wants it to happen, but might they cut him loose? I know what I think, but what's the real deal squad think? Ben, what's your take?
Well, I think, Ben Bernanke has been dealt an awkward deck from this administration. He's doing the best he can right now, and I don't want to change a guy that's pretty smart right in the middle of all this and have a new guy come in, especially one that's a crony of the Obama administration inside the White House right now, which is who Obama's going to point to, and that would be disastrous.
Julie.